Joining me now is House Democratic Leader Nancy Pelosi of California. Leader Pelosi, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good morning. My pleasure to be here.
Happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and congratulations on 70 years.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We're now on 71. Let me, I'm going to go back in our Wayback Machine here. Here's you on Meet the Press, asked specifically about allegations against President Clinton. Here's what you said back in 1998.
Why the silence when there have been these allegations, serious ones, about President Clinton?
Well, I'd like to say that I think that the women of America are speaking out about what they think about this whole situation. And the women of America are just like other Americans in that they value fairness, they value privacy, and do not want to see a person with uncontrolled power, uncontrolled time, unlimited money investigating the President of the United States.
That back then, and look, both Senator Gillibrand and Mayor de Blasio were basically making the argument that our culture's changed, and that today, same allegations probably would have led Democrats, perhaps like yourself, to call for his resignation. You can have a debate about whether it was an impeachable offense, but whether he had the moral standing to stay in office. Do you agree with this idea that this is a generational change that we're experiencing?
Well, I think obviously it is a generational change, but let me just say the concern that we had then was that they were impeaching the President of the United States, and for something that had nothing to do with the performance of his duties, and trying to take him out for that reason. But let's go forward. Let's go forward. I think that something incredible wonderful is happening now. Very credible. It's 100 years, almost 100 years since women got the right to vote. Here we are, almost 100 years later, and something very transformative is happening. That is, women are saying, zero tolerance, no more, and we're going to speak out on it. And this is so wholesome, so refreshing, so different.
Why do you think the reaction was different by women on Bill Clinton? And I say that because it does seem as if, frankly, when you watch some of the reactions by the president in defending Roy Moore, or at least overlooking the allegations against Roy Moore, that were you putting politics ahead of personal disgust?
No, but we're talking about a child molester. We're talking about a child molester.
But President Clinton was accused of being a sexual predator.
Well,
and of even rape at one point by one accuser.
Why don't we talk instead about how we go forward? Nobody is proud of President Clinton's behavior at the time, but he was being impeached.
But I think the reason there's a relitigation of this is that I think the concern is that we allowed the erosion, that the reason we're at this moment, and the reason it got worse over the last 20 years, is because of the way we handled it collectively then. Do you buy that argument?
No, I buy that the election of President Trump really, as your presenter said earlier, just evoked a response. So many women, and this is really important, I think, to note, because I've heard from so many women in the last few months. In fact, I heard around the time of Anita Hill, so many women who've had a bad experience. And now they're saying, I had a bad experience, and now a person who possibly engaged in that activity is the President of the United States. I'm speaking out. So I think, as your presenter said earlier...
It was me, actually.
Was that your voice?
Yes, that is my voice. That's okay.
Then you had it right when you said Harvey didn't evoke this. The election of President Trump evoked what happened to Harvey, and now everybody is served notice.
Right.
Let's go forward. Let's talk about, okay, let's learn from past decisions and go forward.
So define zero tolerance. You said there's now a zero tolerance.
Yes.
John Conyers, what does that mean for him now?
Let's say
in or out?
We are strengthened by due process. Just because someone is accused, and was it one accusation? Is it two? I think there has to be. John Conyers is an icon in our country. He has done a great deal to protect women, Violence Against Women Act, which the right wing is now quoting me as praising him for his work on that, and he did great work on that. But the fact, as John reviews his case, which he knows, which I don't, I believe he will do.
Don't you?
I believe that he will.
How is it that
excuse me, may I finish my sentence?
Sure.
That he will do the right thing.
And is the right thing what? resign?
He will do the right thing in terms of what he knows about his situation, that he's entitled to due process, but women are entitled to due process as well.
But he got it. He took advantage of a situation where he had the rules of Congress, and I know you guys want to change these rules, but he got to hide his settlement. He got to, his accusers had to go through all sorts of craziness. So why is he entitled to new due process in this case?
No, we are talking about what we have heard. I've asked the Ethics Committee to review that.
Yeah.
He has said he'd be open. It will cooperate.
Do you believe
with
the
any
accusers?
review. Excuse me?
Do you believe John Conyers' accusers?
I don't know who they are. Do you? They have not really come forward. And that gets
So you don't know if you believe the accusations?
That's for the Ethics Committee to review. But I believe he understands what is at stake here, and he will do the right thing. But all of these non-disclosure agreements have to go. And by the way, some of them are there to protect the victim, because they didn't want some of it to be public. But that's over. In other words, if the victim wants to be private, she can be. He or she can be.
I guess it goes back to, what is this line? Right? What is a fireable offense? You say it's zero tolerance.
Yes.
But what does that mean if you're saying John Conyers, who already had due process, gets to stay right now?
Well, as I said, we've asked for the Ethics Committee to review that, and I believe will do the right thing.